I've got a pretty good idea who's going to be the most impactful rookie on the Houston Texans in 2025, but who is number two? Which rookie will come in number two in the rookie impact in 2025? I'll tell you who number one is. We'll go through the candidates for number two and ultimately determine who's going to bring that impact. And I really started to think about this as rookie dynasty fantasy drafts start going on. I got friends from all over the country reaching out. Hey, what's Jaden Higgins going to do? Hey, what about Jalen Noel? Should I get him in Dynasty? Should I try to start him this year? What about Woody Marks? Is he going to take over as running back one when Joe Mixon leaves? Like, a lot of questions about the Houston Texans rookies, certainly the ones over on offense. And I feel like the most impactful rookie is going to be Jaden Higgins. Jaden Higgins, to me, feels like the type of player that is going to be a pseudo starter right from the jump. In 2 wide receiver sets, 3 wide receiver sets, Jaden Higgins out there with Nico Collins, and Christian Kirk, and you just put the number 34 overall draft pick on the field, let him go out there, use his athleticism, use his big body. He's going to be able to run some of those tough routes over the middle. And in the red zone, boy, let me get excited about Jaden Higgins in the red zone, going out there being a red zone weapon for the Houston Texans. I feel like Higgins pretty clearly the number one impact rookie and the player that can impact the Texans the most as a rookie. But who's number two? 3 candidates for number two, and I'll tell you ultimately who the number 2 impact rookie is at the end. Let's go with the very next draft pick that the Houston Texans made, Ariante Ursery, the offensive tackle from Minnesota. How much impact is he going to have in 2025? Well, the answer to that question is fully determined by how much Ariante Ursery ends up playing in 2025. Right now, as we sit here, the summer's approaching. It's getting hot outside. It's pool weather. It's Memorial Day weekend. Right now, I don't see how Ariante Ursery plays a tremendous amount of football in 2025. Cam Robinson, not the most impressive tackle in all of football, but certainly the type of player that could go out there and hold down the left tackle spot for a good portion, if not all, of the 2025 season. And then Blake Fisher over at right tackle, while he didn't look amazing in 2025, he was always, or 2024, excuse me, he was always thought of as more of a project player. Hey, get him in the league, get him into an NFL strength and conditioning situation, and then he should be able to take off as he gets deeper into his NFL career. Well, those high expectations for Blake Fisher. Ariante Ursery hasn't played a ton of right tackle. He has played a lot of left tackle. It becomes pretty difficult to see how Ursery plays a lot of football. But when he gets on the field, and I believe he'll get on the field a couple of times in 2025. If he gets on the field for any large portion of the season, left tackle or right tackle, Ursery probably supplants Jaden Higgins as number one because he's going to be in a super important position for this offense, and he's going to be out there trying to help what last year was one of the weakest parts of the Houston Texans. So Ursery could easily jump into the number one spot if he gets out on the field. I just don't see the path totally for Ursery to get on the field here in 2025. If that path opens up in training camp, he shoots to the top of the list. If Cam Robinson or Blake Fisher get dinged up early in the season and are going to miss a few weeks, Ursery goes to the top of the list. But right now, there's not really a path for Ursery. If he gets on the field, big-time impact from a big-time human being. 6'6", 330, and I think they're lying about the 330. Let's go to the very next draft pick, if you will, for the second contender for the second most impactful rookie. It's Jalen Noel. Jalen Noel, Iowa State wide receiver, Jaden Higgins' teammate for the Cyclones. Noel is a piece to this offense that they've lacked for the past few seasons, and really they've kind of lacked since Will Fuller departed this organization, and that's that pure speed element. Noel can get vertical like some of these other wide receivers on the Texans can. You know, Nico Collins has his moments, but a lot of times that's excellent route running. He just beats the guy, takes him vertical. Remember the Buffalo game last year? Noel's a speed guy that can get deep, take the top off of defenses, and force those safeties to really play back a little bit more. Plus, his usefulness to get deep out of the slot will be an important feature. That's something that is an underrated aspect of slot receivers, is being able to get deep from the slot. Noel can do that. He did a lot for Iowa State and the Cyclones while he was there. Played inside, he played outside. His speed and just the pure speed that he possesses, that he's going to be able to showcase on the field, is the way that he can make a big impact. Now, statistically, it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Noel to impact the team because, again, what's the path? How does he get on the field consistently? You're not playing him right away over Christian Kirk, and you're not playing him right away over Jaden Higgins or Nico Collins. So how does he get on the field? Well, he's going to need some opportunities. He's going to need Kirk to need a rest, or Jaden Higgins to need a rest, or just schemed up moments where he's on the field. Again, opportunity is going to be initially limited for Noel, but when he is on the field, he's going to have a big-time effect for the Houston Texans, certainly in just accounting for him if you're the opposing defense. Finally, your third contender for the number 2 spot of impact rookie, Woody Marks from USC. Woody Marks, man, I really liked Woody Marks in the draft process. And I know that the selection of Marks came with a little bit of criticism because they traded a future third-round pick to move up it from the 5th round to the 4th round to select Woody Marks. And he's not a guy that can be a one-for-one replacement for Joe Mixon. But when you're talking about complementing Joe Mixon's skill set, Woody Marks fits those things. Woody Marks' ability to catch the ball out of the backfield consistently is something that you can use a lot. Putting him out there on third downs in pure passing situations, taking a little bit of that workload off of Joe Mixon's plate. Though Mixon didn't play a ton of third downs. You saw Dare Ogunbowale out there quite a bit. But Marks going out there, moving the sticks, being able to keep things on schedule, keep things on track with the offense. And then when you trust him out there as the third down back to go and maybe pass protect for C.J. Stroud, be that safety blanket, that safety valve for C.J. Stroud, he's got to go out there and make things happen when he gets those opportunities. Now, compared to Ariante Ursery, compared to Jalen Noel, I do feel like there's a very clear path to Woody Marks being on the field early and often for this Houston Texans team. It's being the third down running back for the Texans, going out there, pass blocking well, catching the ball out of the backfield, and he'd have to supplant Dare Ogunbowale to do that. He'd have to find himself with those opportunities. It's not as difficult as trying to play ahead of Christian Kirk and Jaden Higgins or trying to beat out Cam Robinson and Blake Fisher for snaps at tackle like Ursery and Jalen Noel have to deal with. It's a less strenuous route to get to playing time for Woody Marks, and that's why he is a candidate. So, Ariante Ursery, Jalen Noel, and Woody Marks, my 3 contenders to be the number 2 impact rookie for the Texans. Who's it going to be? Drum roll, please. Wait for the camera to stop shaking. I'm going to say it's Woody Marks. And here's why I'm going to say it's Woody Marks. I just don't believe the path to getting on the field is there for Ursery and Noel right away. Now, I may look really silly if Cam Robinson or Blake Fisher can't hold it down at those tackle spots. And if the injury bug catches up with Nico Collins like it has and Christian Kirk like it has, then Noel's going to get opportunities. But as I see it right now, I know how I can put Woody Marks on the field. I know he does something well that other guys on the roster don't do well. There's not a really good pass-catching running back, though Joe Mixon's better than most people give him credit for. There's not a really good pass-catching running back who could also give you a little juice on the ground and could pass block. So Woody Marks' skill set, his abilities, and the path to being on the field, he checks in as my likely number 2 impact rookie for the Houston Texans in 2025. I didn't list any defenders. They didn't even get considered. I just don't know, again, playing time, how they're getting on the field. And I didn't go to those late draft picks like Luke Lachey or Keontae Hamilton. Just tough for those guys to get on the field. Who's your number 2? Did you maybe think maybe one of my number 2 candidates should be number 1? Let me know in the comment section down below. On your way down there, thumbs up on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Don't forget to check out SNL, myself, and Landry Locker from the Locker Room each and every weekday live at 4 p.m. You don't want to miss out on any of that. Appreciate you watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. And I can't wait till we talk Texans again soon. Oh, and if you want a food review, here it comes right now. Food review time. Been talking about this one all week, and I'm really excited about it because I love chocolate-covered pretzels. And I love Oreos. And we've got for you chocolate-covered pretzel Oreos. And this is what the fine folks over at Oreo describe the chocolate-covered pretzel Oreos as. These limited edition Oreo cookies feature chocolate-flavored cream filling between crispy pretzel-flavored sandwich cookies topped with a sprinkling of salt. And when you get down, you really look. I don't know if the camera will pick it up. Maybe it will just a little bit. You can see those flakes of salt on these Oreos. And they don't smell like your typical golden Oreos, okay? So you've got that going for you. Couple of different ways here. I think with the description, it's worth trying the cookie by itself and the cream by itself. So we're going to split one of those Oreos, but just a regular good old-fashioned Oreo bite is how we're going to start here. Okay, right away, that is not cloyingly or overwhelmingly sweet like some Oreos are. That does not hit you with the sweetness. In fact, you very much get that sort of golden pretzel flavor, and the salt is very clearly there. Now, I want to detach one of these Oreos, and I want to try one without any of the cream here. So I'm just going to try just the cookie here. We'll go salt down here. Definitely tastes like a pretzel sort of took over a little bit of a cookie. Get the salt flavor, obviously, and doesn't taste like your typical golden Oreo or lighter colored Oreo cookie. Let's try the cream here. Again, doesn't smack you in the face with a lot of sweetness like some of the cream from the Oreo cookies will give you. I would say that breaking these Oreos apart, probably not the way to eat them, just because the cookie by itself doesn't taste good and the cream by itself doesn't taste good. So having a real Oreo bite is the best way. One more bite, and then we'll get the official score here. Okay. Here's what I will say about those Oreos. 2, maybe 3 is going to be the max. They're so unique and so different that they're not inherently crushable like some Oreos. Like, I'm not eating a sleeve of these chocolate-covered pretzel Oreos. I'm not going to go through an entire sleeve of these Oreos. It may be 4 of them, but more than likely, you grab 2, and that satisfies a little bit of your sweet tooth, but also that sweet, savory snack. Like, Oreo feels very much like a dessert. These felt very much like a snack because it's a little sweet, and it's certainly very savory. In fact, that saltiness, it stays with you a little bit, so you're not going to eat more than probably a couple of these. But that doesn't mean they're bad. I think it's a one-off Oreo flavor. This is probably one of the better one-off or limited edition Oreo flavors. This is far better than the Post Malone Oreo, which I know we've reviewed here on the channel. Far better than the Post Malone Oreo. It's not quite into the 10 range. I know we go 1 to 11. 11 being the best thing you've ever eaten. It's not quite into the 10 range. I'm going to check in with like a 8.9. I think 8.9 is the perfect way to do this because if you reach for this and you're hoping for a dessert, it's going to disappoint you. If you're going for a snack like you would use a pretzel, then that's probably going to satisfy you, but you're only going to have a couple of them. So 8.9, not quite into like the awesome territory. I believe that's higher than the Post Malone Oreos we did back in the day. I didn't love the Post Malone Oreos. That's a good one-off Oreo and limited edition flavor. It's worth trying. I think you should try one. Split them with a neighbor or some friends because you're not going to want to have the whole package. It'd be a good, like, hey, we're getting together. I brought these. Let's all try them at like a party type thing. Not like I wouldn't bring that as my party item. I would hopefully do something better than a pack of Oreos. But like you're just getting together with your friends to hang out on the porch. Like, oh, hey, I brought some beer. And I brought these new chocolate-covered pretzel Oreos. You guys want to try one or two? That's where I am with the chocolate-covered pretzel Oreos. Pretty good. Worth a try. I don't know if this was the right time of year to put them out. It feels like this would have been better as like a winter Oreo. But again, it's one of the better one-off Oreo flavors, and it's in your non-traditional lane for the Oreo. So if you're a diehard traditional Oreo fan, you may find these not as satisfying. If you like pretzels, you're really going to like these. You're really going to like these. So I recommend them in that way.